Hello again, this is Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. We need to talk about paid protesters today and how that is, not just protesters, but activists that are online and how they are affecting social media. Because I do think that this is important in the comic book industry as well as other industries. But before we jump into that, I just wanted to give you a little pitch here for my book. This is a 50,000 word novel that I published in 2013. And right now it's free to you. You can follow the link in the description below and go just enter your email address. The only thing I'm using this email address for is sending you an email notification when Downcast is ready for crowdfunding campaign. So I'm just trying to know that I have a big enough audience to launch before I launch. So more information is coming up there. And in the meantime, you get a novel. Feel free to critique it, roast it, enjoy it, whatever you want to do. The link is in the description below. Okay, so if you're like me and you like to sort of jump down different rabbit holes of the internet, there's one that I jumped down, Brandon Darby. And if you're unfamiliar with Brandon Darby, he was a really, really extreme left-wing anarchist. Now, he sort of got radicalized during Hurricane Katrina and shortly after Hurricane Katrina. There are several documentaries made about him. But the really interesting thing about his story is that he actually flips. He turns and he becomes an FBI informant to help catch these really, really extreme anarchists. And when I say anarchists, I mean violent anarchists. So yeah, there's several documentaries about him. I watched one that I thought was pretty fair. It didn't really seem to take a side. And then I saw one that was very from a conservative perspective, and then I saw one more that was from a very liberal perspective. So it was really interesting. His story was fascinating to me, just because ideology pushes people to do things that would seem so unreasonable. But once these ideas take hold, there's sort of a natural thought progression. And it shouldn't surprise anybody, because there's probably things that you believe in sincerely, and it just depends on what those beliefs prescribe in. If you have a belief system that says you should treat people fairly, you're probably willing to do a lot to make sure that people are treated fairly. Now, if you believe that violence is a means to an end and that it serves some moral and right purpose, then yeah, it would be really easy to get involved in that and decide that violence is something that you need to participate in and throw upon people. So this is actually, his story is what inspired me to write a book called Midas. That was a comic. I just did a pitch for it. This was several years ago. Submitted it to Image Comics and it got turned down. So there's not much to show for it other than the pitch packet, but it was still really interesting to me. And still today, it's very interesting. So you may have seen this. I have been getting things from Twitter from several people actually mentioning this, and I thought it was worth doing a video. Let's see. So there's speculation that Disney and Marvel are using paid, I guess, social justice warriors. That's really, honestly, the best word for it. Paid social justice warriors to intimidate people online. And so here's a tweet by Art Tavanna. He says, if you guys think social justice PR firms are being hired to purge people from the internet using tactics such as trolling, doxing, op search, intimidation, and blackmail, you are 100% correct. Yes, I agree with this, absolutely. And it kind of got me thinking that the tactic of intimidation is something that you shouldn't overlook. When I came out a couple days ago and published my books, you all can see my name. There were a lot of people that were concerned for me and worried that I was being naive or putting my safety in my own hands. But from my perspective, the fear of being doxxed is how they control a lot of people online. There's the fear that your name will be associated with your words. And honestly, I think if you're not afraid or if you don't buy into the intimidation, then they lose a whole lot of their power. Now, if this was just a couple crazy people on the internet, that'd be one thing, but it does seem to be coordinated. And I did that interview with George Alexopoulos, and his was definitely like a coordinated attack against his webcomics. There have been a lot of other people that have coordinated efforts. There's people like, Social Just SJW Spider-Man. He's constantly just logging everything that your boy Zach is doing on his YouTube channel. Now, it's hard for me to believe that there's somebody out there that just has so much time in their day that's all that they're there to do, is just vilify somebody and make them look bad. One person. Now, I'm not going to outweigh it, because I just got done saying that it is always fascinating to me what people will do because of their ideology. There are certainly people out there that will obsess about sticking it to the man or bringing somebody else down because their ideology is pushing them forward and they want to do something about it. Having said that, there are far too many radicals online, especially on Twitter. It doesn't make sense to me how there's so many people that are radicalized. Well, if you look and we tie all the pieces together, there's most certainly paid protesters on the internet. They're paid activists. You know that? Well, we do know for a fact. This is not hidden. This is not a conspiracy theory. There's evidence all over. Google it. They're absolutely paid protesters for like in-person events. And like this was in the LA Times. Paid protesters, they're real. And a Beverly Hills firm that hires them stands accused of extortion in a lawsuit. Now, I don't want to get into this lawsuit because that's not the point of the video. But there's a firm that hires them. There certainly is. And then going back to the original tweet, Ripple Strategies. This is actually a public relations firm. And I'll tell you, my degree was in public relations, mass media with an emphasis in public relations. And so I learned a little bit about this stuff. But the interesting thing to me is that even since I graduated college, things have amped up. So in practice, things are a lot more intense. And there's a lot more, intent on changing the way that you think and changing media. It's absolutely about control. Now, when you have a company or something, let's say like Coke, they want you to drink Coke. They have their campaigns. They might do PR campaigns and like donate to charity or something, and they want to portray like a good public image. Honestly, I actually don't really have a problem with that because I know exactly what it is that they want. They want me to buy their product and feel good about their product so I can continue buying their product for the rest of my life, and hopefully my children will buy their product. I know exactly what their angle is. So it's easy to just sidestep it and move on. Now, when a PR firm is motivated by political ideology, that is a little bit more scary because they're using all those same kinds of resources and they're funneling it into trying to change the way that you think about the world. So Ripple Strategies is a public relations campaign or a firm, and they specialize in this kind of stuff. And see all their names and faces. This is all public. I'm not saying don't go like harass anybody or bug anybody. I'm just letting you know it's online. This is a thing. If we look at their services, they have things broken up into different areas. Okay, so even just here's the line here that explains it. Ripple conceptualizes and implements every aspect of a media campaign. We come up with creative ideas, generate content, train spokespeople, and package stories to effectively reach target audiences. Here's a partial list of our services. Media relations, okay, that's pretty normal. Content marketing, blogs, infographics, all sorts of just content that you would see online. Campaign strategy, and a lot of this is talking points and what exactly should those talking points be. Now, if you think that the words, all of the phobia words, just showed up one day out of the blue, it was just a thing that naturally happened. I think that's highly suspect. I think maybe homophobia was the first one, right? Because we all understand that a phobia is an irrational fear of something. Phobia means something. I forget what the word is, but I'm pretty sure I might have a phobia of needles. Do not like getting my blood drawn or getting an IV. That is an irrational fear. Saying that somebody that doesn't agree, let's say, with mass immigration or something like that, you'd call them like xenophobic. Well, I mean, is there an irrational fear? Is it that kind of psychological thing? No, it's more used as a tool. It's like calling somebody a chicken, right? Nobody likes to be called a chicken. Oh, you're scared? You're a skitty cat. It's like a more highbrow way of basically doing the same thing. And it sounds silly when you think of it like that, but it's actually extremely effective. Trainings. This is a big one too. And social media. Okay, if we look further into their website, corporate behavior, they have a whole bunch of, different things here. And this is not like they worked with corporations to make those corporations like look good. This is they're trying to change corporate behavior. Does this sound familiar? If you are a fan of comic books or games or like any traditionally, I guess, male hobby, there's been a lot of social justice activism that has infected it. BPA and canned foods. Okay, so I'm not going to say like, for example, smoking. Yeah, I believe there's lots of science. Smoking's not good for you. I don't want to smoke. I have no desire for me to smoke, and I don't want my children to smoke. Having said that, of course, there are PR firms that are putting together anti-smoking ads because they want to reinforce that everywhere. So I'm not going to comment on, BPA and all the things that they have here. I don't care whether they're right or wrong. Wherever you stand on those particular issues, that's fine. You can let me know in the comments below. But know that these concerns that have come up to corporations, they've come because of PR firms like this. So BPA in the lining of canned goods, Greenpeace and Facebook, I guess they had a campaign there. A day late and a dollar short. I'm not sure that I've heard about this one before, but yeah, these are this is not a mistake. The kind of pictures that you get here are coordinated. Again, I'm not going to make a judgment on what I think is good or not. I haven't looked into any of these. Divest from fossil fuels. Retire Ronald McDonald. No more marketing to kids. Okay, so this is sort of an opposite campaign. Okay, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. We see a whole bunch of them. Now, I don't see any here that say Marvel Comics or anything like that. This is just one PR firm. But some of the sneakier tactics certainly are not public. It's not something that they would brag about or it would be out and aware of. But I'm positive that there are online paid protesters, just like there are in real life, because social media is a really effective place, especially if you can threaten to dox somebody, threaten to blackmail them with whatever information you have. Why else are there so many online activists that are just collecting and storing data from people? Obviously, it's so that they can use it in a later point in time. So I don't really have any conclusions to this. I thought it was really interesting. It just got me thinking back about Brandon Darby. I would love to hear what you think. Do you think that there are PR firms that are being involved in social media? What else could be explaining all of the activism that's on Twitter seemingly all day long? And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.